Hi, my name is Lilly Singh, and you're watching Character Media. 2010 was when I started making YouTube videos, and I was actually pretty late to even discover YouTube. A lot of my friends were coming up to me being like, have you heard of this thing? People post videos, and I was like, sounds kind of lame. Why would you do that? And I didn't get it at all. And then as I got sadder and lonelier in life, I was like, let me check out this website called YouTube. And I was really drawn to the personalities on the platform and how they were talking about what they want to talk about, and they were just kind of like doing what they wanted to do. And I was like, huh, this is actually really cool. So in 2010, I started my YouTube channel, and I remember vividly sitting there in my parents' basement thinking, what would be a great username that definitely won't get me in trouble down the line? Superwoman sounds really smart. Let's do that, because I had 0% business savviness. What up, everyone? It's your girl, Superwoman. Superwoman. It's your girl, Superwoman. Oh, snap, crackle, pop. I created a channel, posted a first video, which was a spoken word piece. My second video was a tutorial. My third video was like God knows what. Point being, I tried a bunch of different things, and the first time I did a comedy video, where I considered comedy, I was like, it's actually a lot of fun. I'm talking about things that I've not heard anyone else really talk about from a perspective I've not heard before. And so I started to just talk about what was going on in my life and my thoughts and feelings and stuff with my parents and stuff with relationships in school. And there's a community of people that were like, oh, we've also not heard anything like this. So it caught on, and one video led to the other, and somehow I'm here now.
I'm gonna take you all on a trip to Unicorn Island with my first ever world tour!
A trip to Unicorn Island was my first world tour, and that's like a really cool sentence to say. My first world tour, because I've had two. But like, it was really cool because I remember prior to this tour, I would be a lot of events. I would host events, I would do segments at events, I'd do Q&As, and I remember being side stage one day being like, this is so fun, and I love being on stage, and I love interacting with my audience in person. And side stage, I think I had emailed my team being like, I wanna go on tour. And so that just like set off this plan, and my whole team was like, wait, what do you want 8 dancers? You want how many countries? And I was just like, that was the first instance of me being so out of my comfort zone in terms of not having any idea how to plan a show, not having any idea how much of this costs, how countries I've never been to before, cultures I've never experienced before, but I just really wanted to lean in and dive in. And so it was very much so me learning to like push for my vision and push for what I wanted. And I'm so proud of that tour. It was such a blast, and I have a lot of great memories from that time. I could fight back. I just had to be a boss.
7 million subscribers.
People Magazine's Ones to Watch.
Over 9 million subscribers and over 1 billion views.
Forbes' 30 under 30
Making the
list.
Superwoman a powerhouse.
Lilly really is a superwoman. How to Be a Boss was my first book. I've written 2 books. Both have been extremely hard. After every book, I've said the same sentence, which was, I'm never writing a book again. And then somehow I do. But How to Be a Boss was my version of a self-help book. You know, it was taking all the lessons I've learned in my life. Because the reality is, I'm not trained in anything I do. You know, no one in my family has done anything in entertainment. I have no background in video editing or comedy or writing or being on camera. I have a degree in psychology. And I have a family that, you know, we have a family business, and I was encouraged to be a doctor or a lawyer. So everything in my life I've made up. I have stepped out of my comfort zone, and I've learned from other people, and I've made it up, and I've tried, and I've failed. And so I thought, let me write a book that is just me reflecting on all of this stuff I've made up that has actually proven to be quite helpful. So How to Be a Boss is, I think it's 50 chapters, 51 if you buy the Target edition, of just things I've learned and things that are really important, and whether it's business or mental health or relationships, where I think I can help people. Fun fact also about that book, a lot of people ask me what is the biggest investment I've ever made, or like what was a time that you spent so much money that you wanted to throw up. How to Be a Boss is that. So very similar to my tour, I had a vision. I wanted the book to be super colorful and super aesthetically pleasing. So when you go through the book, there's a picture at every chapter. So that's 50 pictures, and that's a picture on the front and the back. So there's about 50 something pictures that are like high quality, colorful, different props, different outfits, the works. When I figured out how much that photo shoot would cost for that book that no one else was going to cover, like it was not the publisher, it was me covering it, I low-key threw up in my mouth. Low-key, I threw up in my mouth. I don't think I've ever revealed what that number is, but for you, I will reveal it. That book, photo shoot, out of my pocket, I'm pretty sure cost $70,000. And for me, at that day and age, I threw up in my mouth and I was like, this is so much money. There's no way I can spend this money. I asked around so many different photographers, like, no, this is 50-something pictures. It's gonna cost this much. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting paid to do the book. I'm gonna take it out of there and I'm gonna do it because I have a vision and I wanna commit to it. And if people buy this, I wanna do something that's great quality. And I don't regret that decision, but I threw up multiple times. I think I've learned in my life that when it's all said and done, if you can say that you committed to your vision and it's something you're proud of, that's priceless. It's the worst to work so hard on something and be like, I'm not completely proud of it because of that one decision, that one thing that I cut the corner on, and so I try not to cut corners. I'm happy to announce that my production company, Unicorn Island Productions, is officially launched. I have a company called Unicorn Island. It has two parts of it. One is a production company and one is a social impact, philanthropic side of it. Unicorn Island, based off my tour, A Trip to Unicorn Island, is a synonym for your happy place. You know, a happy place that exists. And I think a happy place for everyone on this planet would be a world that is diverse and that looks like the real world. And so Unicorn Island is all about championing underrepresented voices. So everything we work on is either women-focused or queer-focused or BIPOC-focused. I want to tell stories for people and with people that have traditionally always had to either not have their stories be told or have them be told through other people. I'm trying to highlight the stories and the voices that I never saw growing up. Years ago, I knew nothing about having a production company. I come from YouTube. I've been developing some projects for 4 or 5 years. So as you can understand from the digital age, that's a lifetime basically. I had to learn, it was such a steep learning curve and I'm still learning every single day, but it is one of my favorite things.
Lily, breathe. Just imagine Unicorn Island, my happy place. Wow. Whoa. I'm Lily. Corn? What? I have a unicorn horn?
Ah, unicorn!
Unicorn Island really has trained me and has got me to appreciate a different muscle, which is like not instant gratification, which is creating a story, making art, building a character, really believing in a vision and committing to it for multiple years until it comes to fruition. Which basically means that not only does it take longer, but it hurts more when people don't like it.
Thank you so much for being here. And welcome to the first episode of A Little Late with Lilly Singh.
My late night show, A Little Late with Lilly Singh, which is both such an amazing, extraordinary thing that I get to say I did, which I'm so grateful for, but at the same time was one of the most difficult things I've ever done and definitely has given me some trauma, if I'm being completely honest. It was as if overnight, the world I was living in changed. Suddenly people I aspired to be like followed me. Suddenly I was on a set with hundreds of people as opposed to just being with my team making YouTube videos. Suddenly I couldn't just say what I wanted to say. It had to go through legal and clearance and all these things. And suddenly there was billions of people counting on me to represent accurately their point of view, which is an impossible situation to be put in. Whether it was South Asian people, whether it was queer people, whether it was women, there were just so many people that were like, you are it now and you gotta do it for all of us, man. And you gotta represent me, exactly me. And I was like, I'll try my best. I learned so much and I'm so grateful. And I do think that a lot of my career has really evolved and elevated since that late night show. But I've learned so many lessons from it. Namely, to make sure you're really proud of what you create. I can't say that every day I was on that show. I can't say every day I had an amazing time. I can't say every day I had fun. And that's real life and that's work, but I think I've really changed the way I prioritize projects and I view my career because of late night. You wanna be my girlfriend?
Do you want to be mine?
So when I got my role in Dollface, I actually vividly remember auditioning for it because I had moved into my house not too much before that, and my house was in disarray, and my house has way too many windows, and it's basically on fire all the time. It's blazing hot, and I remember being like, I don't have a white wall to shoot this audition on, because every white wall is basically on fire with the sun. It took me, no exaggeration, 2 hours to set up for the audition that I had to tape, and I remember being like, no corners cut, it's okay. I had to pin up sheets to the windows, I had to move some boxes, and I had to just completely reorganize this one room in my house to shoot this audition. They actually went out of their way to tell me they loved my audition, which meant a lot to me because I didn't have too much acting experience prior to this. And I was just trying my best and trying to bring this character to life, and I got the role, and I was super nervous the first day of set, but all of the queens, and here's the thing, I went from late night, and the next thing I did pretty soon after was Dollface. So I went from a super male-dominated environment to Dollface, which was all of these amazing women. I remember sitting in the hair and makeup chair and Brenda's talking to me about breastfeeding and giving birth and mother, and I was like, oh my God, I love women so much. It's amazing, and they were so warm and welcoming. And then, you know, I got to make out with Shay Mitchell, which is pretty great. Another thing I'll say is when you walk onto a new set, you obviously have nerves. You don't know how it's gonna be, but every single time, even Kat, like being the lead of the show, was just so warm and welcoming to me. I remember feeling so at home, and just, even the showrunner's a woman. Like, so many women were on that set. The universe was like, hey, we know we put you through the ringer for 2 years, but here's a group of women on this set. And I was like, thank you.
Why do you love dogs? Why do an act with a dog?
Because dogs are my best friends.
Absolutely, I agree. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, good luck, the stage is yours.
Canada's Got Talent is a huge full circle moment for me because years and years and years ago, there was a version of Canada's Got Talent, and I was sitting in the audience, actually, behind the judges, watching my friends perform. And now, 10-ish years later, I get to be one of the judges. No matter where I go in life, you know, I live in LA, but I'm a super proud Canadian. I really, like I said, I attribute a lot of my success to being from Canada, specifically from Toronto. There's certain things I will not change about myself. For example, I've lived in America since 2015, I think, and anytime I'm doing an event and there's a teleprompter, they need to spell words with a U. I don't care if no one else can see it. Like, just for me, I need favorite, I need honor, I need color, I need it all to have a U. I still operate in kilometers, I still operate in Celsius, I still say pop. There's certain words I've learned that I say wrong. Apparently, I stick to them. In my audiobook, the audio producer kept saying, oh, you're saying this word, you're saying contribute. It should be contribute. I'm like, I'm gonna say contribute. Because I'm Canadian. Organization, contribute. These are how, intestine, these are how I say these words. Talking about Canada's Got Talent. That's a no from me. So the other judges on Canada's Got Talent, I can't believe I get to sit with them. I actually waited in line to meet Trish Stratus as a kid. Like the wrestler, I was obsessed with wrestling, and I waited in line to meet her. And one time I remember when I was a kid, she walked by me at one of these events, she'd hi to me. I think I cried. Like, I think I cried. Now I get to sit beside her, and she's my friend. Howie's a Canadian legend, Cardinal. I listen to his music, so it's just crazy that I get to be alongside these people that are just so talented. So that's also very cool for me. Cover of Vogue India is pretty wild because India is really special to me for a variety of reasons. Obviously, my parents are from India. Culturally, that is where I am from. But I remember the first time I ever went to India as Superwoman. It was for YouTube Fan Fest, and it is one of my fondest memories. Because for the first couple of years of being on YouTube, I like understood the views. I was like, oh, there's a lot of people watching, but it's hard to really comprehend that there's real people behind those analytics. And the first time I ever went to India, I went to Bombay, and it was a place I've never visited prior to that, and I went for the first time as Superwoman. And I remember being on stage for YouTube Fan Fest, and the audience just chanting my name and knowing all of my video references, and I was like, this is wild.
What up, everyone? It's your girl, Super, make some noise!
Like, you live across the world, and we've made such a connection because of my YouTube videos, and so India holds a really special part in my heart, and getting to be on the cover of Vogue India just further added to that because, you know, my parents are proud of a lot of things, but I think the things that really, really impact them are when it's culturally significant as well. You know, there's no surprise that I announced a trip to Unicorn Island, my world tour in India. Everything I do, I try to make sure it's available in India, you know. The Muppets, I made sure was available in India. My books, I made sure they were available in India. And so it was really special to be a part of that. I'm Nora Singh from Waxtown Records. I would love to help you make an album.
Well, all right, Nora.
What's happening?
I think Animal digs you.
I dig the animal as well. I won't lie, after Late Night, even though I had Dollface and some other cameos, I had a bit of a identity crisis. I was a late night host for 2 years. Prior to that, I was very much so known as being a digital creator. Like, what am I now? I really want to act. Acting is what I'm so passionate about. I love bringing characters to life. But like, can I do this? I've never had a lead role. I've never been part of a series in this way. And so when I got the Muppets audition, a few things were in play. One, who doesn't know the Muppets? I was like, this is iconic IP that I would love to be involved in. But learning from Late Night, I also was like, do I like the script? I read it, and I remember calling my manager saying, it's so good, the script is so good. Then when I did my first audition, of course my first question, it was COVID time, so we were on Zoom. My first question was, are Muppets gonna be on this Zoom? Because I need to be mentally prepared if there's gonna be a bunch of Muppets on this Zoom. They were humans, unfortunately, but they were still really, really nice. And I remember after the audition, me calling my manager saying, everyone was so lovely and warm and welcoming, and I would love to create with these people because they seem so passionate. Everyone that makes that show they're not casual Muppets fans. They're like ride or die from childhood, have loved the Muppets, and they care so much about the product. So I auditioned. I did a self-tape, I got a call back. I did another audition, I got a call back. So I've done like 3 auditions at this point, and I remember having a moment being like, I even talked about it in therapy. I was like, I want this role so badly because I think some part of me needs to prove, it needs to feel validated. Whether or not that's healthy or not, we're not discussing that. But the point is that I needed to feel I needed to win at that moment. And I remember I opened Photoshop and I Photoshopped my name into the credits and I stared at it manifesting being like, it will say Lilly Singh as Nora. Lilly Singh as Nora. And then 2 days later, I got the call and I got the role.
Let's get back to you doing what you do best. I'm ready to roll with it.
Well, good, because we're ready to rock with it. We're gonna rock!
Welcome to the mayhem.
It is one of the most fun things I've ever done. I would love to do it a million times over, but it doesn't even matter. It was one of those projects where I'm like, I don't even care how many people watch it. I don't care how many seasons it gets. I can confidently say that that was so fun. I'm so proud of it, and it's priceless for that reason. You can watch The Muppets Mayhem on Disney+. 10 episodes, baby. Get it.